what's up there, Roulette players? What's going on? Welcome back to Casino Wars. I got another system for you. This is done by the Roulette Master, another one of his famous systems. This one's called, it's just the Sunny Bonus System, Roulette System. All right, and his name was Tracy, the person behind it. All right, so we're just going to place the bets with this one. This one is going to have a $46,800 bankroll. He's looking to get 5% profit, which would make it $2,340. And he'll reevaluate at $1,170, and he will not let himself. Once he hits that evaluation point, he won't lose more than $585. All right, so let's go ahead and place the bets. So with this system, you're going to place 6 bets here, 6 bets here, units, and then 1 unit here, and go ahead and spin. All right, that's a 7 red. That is a loss. So with this system, he's just going to rebet, and just the first time he's going to double, but that's not going to happen all the time because he's only going up 1 unit. And that's a 2 black. That's a win. All right, that's a $1,000 win. So we're going to rebet and spin. He's not in session profit. He's still down 300. That's a 31 black. That's another loss. So he's going to rebet, and he's going to put another 6 units here. And 1 unit there, and spin. No more bets. That's a 12 red. That's a win. It's a $1,500 win. But he's not in session profit, so he's going to rebet and just spin. No more bets. He needs another win to get into session profit. That's an 11 black. I believe that's a win. It is. So he's back in session profit. He's a profit of $100. So he's going to go back to base with 6 and 6. On 0 double 0. No more bets. That's a double 0 with this system. It's an awesome number. That's 500. That's a $500 win. So he's going to rebet and spin. No more bets. That's a 13 black. That's a loss. Okay, so he's going to rebet. And just for this one time, he's going to double and spin. No more bets. It's a 21 red. All right, that's a $1,000 win, but he's not in session profit, so he's just going to rebet and spin. Actually, he was. I could reset, but that's okay. That's a 7 red. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to add. No more bets. So 36 red. That's a win. A $1,500 win. So he's going to rebet and just spin. He's not in session profit. He's still down 800. That's a 2 black. That's a win. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to reset. Back to 1,300. Yep. All right, and he's gonna rebet. He's gonna spin. He's up 700 now. He's just looking to make up to 1,170. Once he gets to that point, he could reevaluate, and he did just make a $500 win. So we're going to just rebet and spin.
No more bets.
He's up 1,200. So he's at his evaluation point. He's not going to let himself lose money now. He will definitely go home with a profit. That's 500. Rebet and spin.
No more bets.
He's up 1,700 now. He's going to try and make the 2,140 if he can. So 14 red, that is another win. So he's trying to make 2,340. Rebet. And let's see where we're at. Alright, we're at 2,200. Wow, we're just a little short. Alright, let's do it one more time. And hopefully we get this win. 24 black. That is a win. That is it. He's done. He made out of his goal, his goal was 2,340, but he made 2,700. So he made his goal. He's done for the day. And that's it. And I'm going to put a check mark because he made his goal. All right, let's go to the next player.
Welcome to the table. Place your bets, please.
Okay, the next player, he's got a $11,700 bankroll. He's only going for 10% goal, which is $1,170, and he's going to reevaluate at 585, and he'll make sure that he doesn't lose more than $292 once he gets to that point. All right, so let's go ahead and place the bets. We're going to play 6 and 6. $125 bet on 000. That's a $325 total bet. So let's go ahead and spin. That's a 0. That's a good number on this system. And that's a $125 win. So let's rebet and spin.
No more bets.
So we're going to get to 585. That's a 4 black. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to double for just the first time and spin.
No more bets.
That's a 000. That's a good one in this game. Alright, so that's a $250 win. But I don't believe we're in session profit, so we're just going to rebet and
no
spin.
More bets.
We're down 50. Yeah, we're not in session profit. We were up to 125 before, so that's a 22 black. That is a loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to add 6 and 6 and 1. Spin.
No more bets.
I got a $975 bet. That's a 000. That's a good one in this game. That's a $375 win, but we're not in session profit, so we're just going to rebet and spin. He's got to make another $225 to be in session, to the $325 to be in session profit. That is a $375 win. We are going back to base. That's a $325 base. So let's go ahead and spin.
No more bets.
We're up 150. That's a 6 black. That is a win. Alright, that's a 125 win. Rebet and spin.
No more bets.
That's a 10 black. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. We're just going to double the first time. Spin.
No more bets.
We're down 50. That's a 4 black. That's a loss. Alright, so we're going to rebet. We're going to increase by 1 unit. And spin.
No more bets.
We're down 700. There's a 29 black. That's a win. 375. So we're just going to rebet and spin.
No more
We're not at
bets.
session profit yet. That's a 14 red. Alright, that's a win. Let's see if we can get one more win at this level.
No
and
more
spin.
bets.
And then we'll be in session profit. That's a 19 red. That's a loss. Okay, so we're going to rebet. We're going to double it. We're going to add another unit to each. Spin.
No more bets.
Now we're down 925. That's a 2 black. That's a win. It's a $500 win. So we're going to rebet and spin.
No more
We're not in
bets.
session profit. It's a 36 red. Alright. Now we're in profit, so I'm just going to go back to base. I'm going to play it safe. I recommend you do that. Always play safe. Don't push your luck. Alright, let's
No
go
more
ahead and
bets.
spin. That's a 28 black. It's a loss, see? That's why you don't push your luck. Okay, rebet. We're going to double and spin.
No more bets.
That's another loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to add 6. And 1 there. And spin.
No more bets.
It's a 4 black. That's a loss. Okay, so we're going to rebet. I'm going to add. And spin.
No more bets.
Okay, that's a 00. That's a good one in this game. That's a $500 win, but we're not in session profit. So
No
we're
more
just gonna
bets.
rebet and spin. That's a 2. That's another win. It's a $500 win. So we're gonna rebet and spin.
No more bets.
We need 2 more wins, and then we can reset. That's a 14. Oh no, 34. That's a loss. Okay. So we're gonna rebet. We're gonna add 6.
No more bets.
We're down $2,175. That's a 2. That's a win. It's a $625 win. So we're going to rebet and spin.
No more bets.
We need 3 of those wins. 3 wins at this level. 25 red. That's a loss though. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to put 6 more. See something here. All right, we got plenty of money in the bankroll, so let's go ahead and spin.
No more bets.
We're down 3,750 there. That's a 24 black. It's a 750 win, so we're gonna just rebet and spin.
No more bets.
We need some wins. It's 28 black. Alright, that's a loss. Rebet. And we are going to add another 6. So we're at 2,275. So we're almost done here. We got only 2 more chances to make a
No more
comeback,
bets.
or else we're gonna lose our bankroll. That's a 31 black. That's a loss. Not good. Rebet. And we're gonna put 6 more. This is my last chance. And this would be it. If I lose
more
here,
bets.
I'm walking away with a loss. That's an 11 black. That's a win though. That's a $1,000 win. So we're gonna rebet. And let's go ahead and spin.
No more bets.
I should go back down 1 level to give me that 1 level of excellence. 14. That is another win. Matter of fact, let's do that. Let's give ourselves some breathing room here. Come down. Let's give ourselves some breathing room so we can have more chance
more
to
bets.
recoup. That's a 25 red. That's a loss. So we're gonna rebet and we're going back to the okay, and
No more
spin.
bets.
We're down to our last spin here. If we lose, it's gonna be our last spin. That's a 6 black. That's a win though. Okay, so let's rebet. Let's bring ourselves back so that we can give ourselves more breathing room. And spin.
No more bets.
That's a 1 red. That's a loss. So we rebet and we can
No more bets.
This will be our last spin if we lose. And we'll take a look. Oop, but that's a 0. That's a good one. All right, that's a $1,000 win. So let's rebet. Let's come back down to give ourselves that extra. Spin.
No more bets.
All right. That's an 8 black. All right, that's a win. That's good. So we're gonna rebet. We're gonna come back down 1 more. And spin.
No more bets.
We're just giving ourselves more, with the stepping down, we give ourselves more of a chance of recouping. All right, that's now we're gonna rebet. And I mean, not really recouping, but it gives us more chances of not losing our bankroll. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna clear.
No more bets.
Spin. At some point though, you gotta stop and because, all right, that's a loss. So we're gonna go rebet and we're gonna put 6. And spin.
No more bets.
All right, that's a win. So let's just play on this for a while.
No more bets.
And hopefully we'll get our money back here. 36 red. All right, that's another win. Rebet and spin.
No more bets.
Let's keep winning 750 at a time and try to get our money back. We're like way too deep right now. 23, that's a win. Rebet and spin.
No more bets.
That's a 23 red. That's another win. Rebet spin.
No more bets.
That's a 10 black. I believe that's a win. No, it's a loss. Okay. So we're going to rebet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, spin.
No more bets.
All right, we're gonna stay here for a while. That's a 17 black. All right, that's a win. Let's just rebet and spin.
No more bets.
That's a 5 red. All right, that's a win. Rebet and spin.
No more bets.
Let's try to lose less. Let's see, we're on this one. 21 red. Hopefully we don't lose. That's another win. So we're gonna rebet and spin.
No more bets.
That's a 16 red. That's a loss. So now we're going to rebet. We'll go to the top tier now. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to spin this one and we're going to stay
No
here
more bets.
until we win or fail. Hopefully we win. That's a 6 black. That's a win. That's a $1,000 win. Rebet and spin.
No more bets.
Hopefully we can get 5 wins in a row. That's a 12 red. That's a win. Okay, rebet and spin.
No more bets.
That's a 22 black. That's a loss. All right. All right, so what we do now is we are going to go home and we're going to leave with a $6,400 loss. Okay, that's a total, that's a loss of $6,400. So let's go to the next player. The next player is going to be playing with a $4,680 bankroll, and he's going to have a target of, his goal is $702, and he's going to have a reevaluation at $351, and he will have a rock bottom of 175 if he reaches that 350. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and place the bets. And spin. So 23 red. That's a win, I believe. It is. So we're going to rebet and spin. All right, that's another win. Rebet and spin. So he needs 7 wins and he'll be at his goal. 7 wins in a row. Well, that doesn't help. All right, so we're going to rebet. We're going to double just the first time and spin. It's a 19 red. That's another loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to add 6. And spin. 390. I think what I would do is, if I was in this situation, that is a win, I think I would double and just play 5 rounds instead of trying for 8. Maybe even just go for 3 or 4 rounds, because doubling is always better. All right, so we got a win. So we're just going to rebet and spin. I know we're not in session profit. All right, that was a $150 win. One more win and we'll be good. 34 red. That's a loss though. We are going to rebet. We're going to put another 6 down. And another 10 and spin. That's a 32 red. All right, that's a win. That's a $200 win. So we're gonna rebet, spin. Instead of going for all these multiple wins, one win would have took us back if we would have doubled. So you let me know in the comments below what you would do. Maybe I'll put a quiz on there about that. What would you do? Would you double and just go a little less times of a chance? And spin. I think I would double. All right, that's a 10 black. That's a loss. So we're gonna rebet and we're gonna add another 6. Spin. I definitely think doubling is a better system. That's a 29 black. All right, that's a win. That's a $300 win. So we're gonna rebet and spin, but that's not even close to where we need. We still need 3 wins in a row now. And there's another one. Okay, that's good. Now rebet and spin. We need 3 more to just make it back to even. That's a 13 black. That's a loss. Man. All right, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to add 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 10, and spin. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet, and where are we at? We're at 9, 10. So we're at one level before we can quit. We got to get some serious wins here. All right, spin. That's a 20 black. All right, that's a win. Rebet and spin. Yeah, I think this is a doubling system, not the one single up system. That's a 350 win again. Rebet and spin. We need 2 more wins at least. 17, that's a win. All right, and rebet and spin. Hopefully we get this win. We need this win so I can go back to base. That's a 19. I believe that's a loss. It is. Dang. Rebet. And now we're on our final. All right, and let's go ahead and spin. I think tomorrow's video, I'm going to make this a game out of doubling and see what we do. That's a 400 win, rebet, and spin. Because this is just too much, too hard to come back. That's a 12 red, that's a win. So let's rebet and spin. That's a 16 red. That's a loss. Man, rebet. And we're going to put 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Actually, I think we lost our bankroll. 1,040. Yeah, we did. So let's clear that out. Let's clear it all out. And let's just take the loss and run. So it was a loss of $1,140. So far, this system does not work. I mean, the first player we did good with, but the last 2 players were definitely loss of a bankroll. But tomorrow, I'm going to put on another video. You guys will see it. I'm going to put it on, and it's going to be the same system, but we're going to double it instead. Hey, we're going to go to the next player. The next player is going to have a $2,340 bankroll. He's going to be playing with $5 units. So we're going to go ahead and place the bets. And spin. And see what this player can do. All right, that's 25 red. That is a loss right off the bat. So we're just going to rebet. We're going to double the first one and spin. That's a 26 black. All right, that's a win. That's a $50 win. So we're going to go back to base. No. We're not in profit, so we're just going to keep going. All right, we're not in profit yet. We need another win. That's a 26 black. All right, that's a win. All right, that's good. Rebet. Now we can go back to base and spin. We're up 35. That's a 30. All right, that's a win. All right, so he's looking to get to, his goal is 468, but he's looking to get, for his reevaluation, he's looking at $234 for his reevaluation. So let's rebet and spin. So he's looking to reevaluate at $234. All right, that's a loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5, and spin. All right, he's down $5 now. That's a 5 red. All right, that's a win. Rebet and spin. I probably could have went back down. That's a 8 red, 8 black. That's a good one. That's a win. So we're going to rebet and we're going to go back to base. Try to go back to base as much as you can. All right, that's a 22 black. All right, that's a loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to double and spin. That's a 2 black. That's a win. I'm going to go ahead and reset and spin. That's an 11 black. All right, that's a $25 win. Rebet and spin. We're at $105 now. That's a 36 red. All right, that's a $25 win. Rebet and spin. That's a 0. That's a good one in this game. There's a $25 win. So we're going to rebet, spin. Looking to get to $230, $235. That's a 20. That's a good one. All right, we're going to rebet and spin. We're at 180. That's a 4. That's a loss. All right, so we're going to rebet. We're going to double and spin. We get this win. We're going to reset. That's a 00. That is a win, so we're going to reset, rebet, and we're going to reset and spin. I know we're not at session profit, but I want to reset because I'm keeping it safe because of all the other losses I had. That's a 28 black. Okay, so we're going to reset and rebet, and we're going to double it and spin. If we get this win, we will set it back, even though we won't be in session profit. That's a 7 red. That's a loss, though. So we're going to rebet. We're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5. And spin. That's a 0. That's a good one with this game. All right, so that's a $75 win. So let's rebet. See where we're at. We're at 45. Let's play it safe and go back. Let's go back to base and play it safe, because this game is dangerous. All right, and spin. All right, we're just gonna play it safe because we're in profit. That's a 34 red. That's a loss. So we're gonna rebet. We're gonna double and spin. If we win here, we can go back to base. It's a 31 black. Oh, that's a loss though. Okay, so we're gonna rebet and we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 5, and spin. Let's see what we win. We got to get over $150 win, or else we can't go back. That's a 14. That is a win, but it's only 75. We can't go back now because we're not in profit. So we rebet and spin. It's a 35 black. That's another win. All right. Let's rebet. See where we're at. Let's go for one more win. I hope I didn't push my luck because we could have went back to base. That's a 6 black. That's a loss, I think. No, it's a win. Okay. 75. Okay, so now we're going to go back to base. Play it safe. And spin. All right, so we're at $75. That's a 15 black. All right, that's a $25 win. Rebet and spin. The Roulette Master, he didn't go back until he was in session profit, but I'm making this decision to go back if we're just in profit. So we're going to rebet and we're going to double, and let's go ahead and spin and see where we're at. We're at 35, so if we win, we just go right back. That's a 17. That is a win. So we're just going to go right back to base. And spin. That's a 32 red. That's a win. Rebet. And spin. It's a 32 red. All right, that's a $25 win. Rebet and spin. We're at 135. We're looking to get to 235. That's a 23 red. That's a win. So we're just going to rebet and spin. At this point, I would set the evaluation. I would just do it because this is too dangerous. We can set it now so that we won't lose 117. That's a win though. Maybe we'll make it to our 235 if we win here. 18, that's a win. I believe we made it. Rebet and spin. We did make our 235. So now we could set that evaluation to no loss. That's a 28. That is a loss of $65. So we are going to take our money and we are going to walk away with $170. Okay, we didn't make our goal, but we did make a profit. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next guy. Okay, this is our final player, and he's got a bankroll of $468. He's going to try for a $117 goal, which is 25%. And he's going to go, and he's going to set his evaluation at 58. And he won't lose more than $29 if he makes that evaluation. So let's go ahead and place the bets. And spin. It's a 1 red. That's a loss right off the bat. It's a $13 loss. So we're going to rebet. We're only going to double the first time and spin. It's a 17 black. All right, that's a $10 win. So we're going to rebet. And we are going to go, well, we're going to have to spin again because we still below $3. That's a 14 red. All right, that's a win. That's a $10 win. So now we're going to go back to base and spin. That's a 35 black. That is a $5 win. Rebet and spin. That's a 19 red. That's a win, I believe. Nope, it's a loss. So we're going to rebet. We're just going to double it and spin. That's a 0. That's a good one in this game. That's a $10 win. So we're going to rebet. And I think we're in profit. So we're just going to go back to base. Yeah, we're in profit, so let's just go ahead and spin. We are in profit. Doesn't matter if we're over the. All right, that's a $13 loss. So we bet. We're gonna double and spin. Doesn't matter if we're in session profit. We just, as long as we're in profit. This is too dangerous to be doing it the other way. That's a 30. That's a good one. But we're not in session profit, so we're just going to rebet and spin. Oh, man, I could have went down. Man, I wish I would have. That's a 17, though. That is a win, so we're okay. But, yeah, I wish I would have went down. All right, so let's go back to base this time and spin. It's a 00. That's good in this game. So we're going to rebet and spin. We're looking to get 117 or 58. $58. When $58 comes, we'll be reevaluating. Okay, that's a rebet and double and spin. All right, so we'll be in session profit, and we'll still be in profit if we win if we lose this, I think. But we won, so that's good. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to go back to base and spin. That's a 16 red. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to double it and spin. All right, we're at $5. So if we lose, we'll be down 26. That's a win, though. All right, so rebet, and we're going to go back down to base and spin. All right, that's an 18 red. All right, that's a win. Rebet and spin. We're at $20. We're just looking to get to 58 or 60. Probably 60 or whatever. 58 if we can. If we do get to 58. Rebet and spin. But we're probably going to reach 50. All right, that's an 8 black. That's a win. All right, we'll take it. Rebet and spin. That's a 26 black. That's a win. Rebet and spin. That's 27 red. That's a win. All right, rebet, and spin. We're at $40 now. We got to get to 60. That's a 34 red. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. We're going to double and spin. And if we get this win, we will just go back to base. That's a 32 red. We got the win. Let's go back to base, rebet. And let's go back to base and spin. That's a 1. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet, double, and spin. We'll go back to base if we get this win. That's a 19 red. That's a win, I believe. No, that's a loss. Okay, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to add 6. And let's go ahead and spin. Let's go ahead and spin. We're down 2, so if we win, we're going to go back to base. That's a 5 red. Let's go back to base, play it safe, rebet, and we're going to clear out and go back to base of 13. And spin. That's a 16 red. All right, that's a loss, so we're going to rebet. We're going to double the first time and spin. That's an 8 black. All right, that's a $10 win. Let's rebet. Let's go back to base and spin. We're in profit. That's a 30 red. That's a $5 win, so let's rebet and spin. It's 25. That's a loss. Let's rebet. Let's double and spin. That's a 19 red. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. I'm going to add 6. And spin. That's an 11 black. All right, that's a $15 win. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to go back to base, I believe. And let's just check it. Nope. Nope. Let's go back to, let's double it. Add the 6. Because we're not at set, we weren't at session profit. So let's go ahead and spin. That's a 35 black. All right, that's a win. Now we're in profit, so let's just rebet and we can go back to base. We're playing it safe. We're playing it super safe. $6. That's an 18 red. That is a win. That's a $5 win. Rebet and spin. That's a 0. That's a good number on here. That's a $5 win. All right, so we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 2 black. That's a win. So we're going to rebet and spin. That's a 6 black. That's a win. Okay. Rebet and spin. At this point, I might just take my $26 win and go 5 red. All right, that's a win. Rebet and spin. See if we can get to 58. That's a 24 black. All right, that's a win. All right, rebet and spin. All right, we're cruising right along. We came back 4 black. All right, that's a loss though. So we're gonna rebet. See, like now I might just take it and run. Take my $23 and run, but let's see if we can play the system out. That's a 22 black. That's a loss. So rebet, and now you're gonna add 3 more. 3 more again, because it's supposed to be 6, not 3. And $1 there, and spin. Yeah, I probably should have just took my money and ran. That's the smart thing to do. That's an 18. That is a $15 win. So we are back in profit. So we can go back to base. Be safe and go back to base. That's a 15 black. All right, that's a win. Rebet and spin. That's a 21 red. All right, that's a win. Rebet, spin. That's a 6 black. That's a win. Okay, so rebet and spin. I think on my next loss, I'm just going to take the loss. I'm not going to try to push it anymore unless we can go all the way. That's a 12. That is a win. But if we can make it to 58, that'll be great. Rebet and spin. But yeah, right now I'm just going to take my first loss and go. 31. That is a loss. All right. So here I didn't do the system. I didn't try to go all the way to 58. It's been rough. It's been a rough day. So I decided that I'm going to take my $19 and go. And leave with a $19 profit instead of losing everything. However, I'm going to play it out just to play it out. So let's do that. Let's play it out. But I did walk away with $19. So let's play it out. Rebet. And double. And spin. Alright. That's a 13 black. Alright, that's another loss. Rebet. And we're going to add 6. And add $1 and spin. So 26 black. Alright, that's a $15 win. So we're just going to rebet and spin. Even though I could have reset back, but I didn't. That's a 4. That's a loss. See, that cost me not resetting. That cost me not resetting. That's a 2 black. That's a win. It's a $20 win. Rebet and spin because we're not in session profit. We're not in profit. That's a 19. I believe that's a loss. It is. So we're going to rebet and we're going to add 6 more. Spin. That's a 17 black. Alright, that's a $25 win. But we're not in session profit. We're not even in profit. So let's just go ahead and spin. We need 2 more wins to be in profit. And that's an 18 red. That is a win. We need 1 more win and then we'll be able to reset. And that is a win. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and reset. We're going to reset back to 0, back to $13. Play it safe. Safe. All right, and we're up $12. I already walked away with 19, but let's see what happens. 21, that's another $5 win. Rebet and spin. We're up 17 now. That's a 27 red. That's a win. All right, rebet and spin. That's an 11 black. All right, that's a win. So let's rebet and spin. It's a 26 black. All right, rebet and spin. It's a 5 red. All right, that's another win. Rebet and spin. It's a 30 red. All right, that's another win. Rebet and spin. All right, we're up $42. We're almost, we might get it. That's a 15 black. I believe that's a win. It is. Rebet and spin. That's a 2. That's a win. All right, we got to get to 58, and I believe we're at 52. Rebet and spin. Maybe we'll make it. That's a 9 red. That's a win. All right. Rebet and spin. Now we're not going to let ourselves lose more than 19 bucks. So that's a 29 black. All right, that's a win. Rebet and spin. Watch us make 117. Wouldn't that be something? It's a 23 red. I believe that's a win. It is. Rebet and spin. That's a 31 black. I think that's a loss. It is. All right, so where are we at? So if we were to rebet, it would be $26. Yeah, we have plenty of room. So let's rebet, double, and spin. I think this will be the last one though. But we do have room. That is a 36 red. That is a win, I believe. It is $10. So we can rebet and we could go down and spin. We can go back to base and spin. That's a 22 black. All right, that's another loss. So we can rebet. We can double and spin it. But this will be our last time. If we lose this, we're not going to go any further. That's 33 black. That's a win though. So we're going to rebet and we're going to go back down to base and spin. That's a 30 red. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet and spin. We're at 66. All right, that's a 36 red. All right, that's another win. Rebet and spin. That's 24 black. That's another win. Rebet and spin. We're at 76. We might make our goal of 117. That's a 4 black. That's a loss. All right, so now we're going to rebet. We're going to double. We can do it. We got plenty of room in our bankroll. That's a 34 red. That's a loss. Okay. All right, so we're going to take our $37 and that's it. All right, so by continuing on, we did get the $37, but I did walk away with 19. If I was real life, that's probably what I would have did because I was getting too nervous. But anyway, we made $37. We didn't make our profit. We didn't make our goal. We almost did. We almost did. But that's it. And like I said, tomorrow I'll try to make a video with where we double our bets, and you know, of course, we'll use the same bankrolls, I guess, but we'll double. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss another roulette spin. Thank you. You have a great day.